Hello, my name is Jace. I am doing a presentation today on Plato because I really enjoy studying ancient Greece, and philosophy has always been something that's fascinated me. For starters, I wanted to let people know I do have like a small note that I made while I was going through the presentation of just stuff I found interesting, stuff that stuck out to me. So I'll kind of be going from this and reading off it as we go along. One of the first things I actually found really fascinating was how Plato was originally the prize student of Socrates. He wrote down a bunch of Socrates' personal philosophies and teachings shortly before Socrates' death via drinking hemlock. And then following that, Plato eventually had his own student named Aristotle, who was also his own prize student. So it's kind of cool to me that he passed that torch it went from Socrates to Plato to Aristotle. Second thing I also found really fascinating was the fact his name was not actually Plato. It was Aristophanes. Aristophanes? I might not be pronouncing that correctly. And how he had changed his name, I believe, shortly after Socrates had died, and began going under the name Plato, which I found kind of interesting. One of the other things that I found cool was the fact that he studied with a Pythagorean and explored the Mediterranean Sea throughout a lot of his life. So getting to explore, learn more about other people, getting to do all sorts of different things, which I found cool. Um, from there, he had also created the Academy, which was a place for specifically more wealthy and higher class men and also some women, which was a very uncommon practice at the time, especially for being ancient Greece. But it was a place for them to learn about different philosophy, law, mathematics, stuff like that. Basically, it acted as a school, a university of sorts, for people to learn and study and enrich their minds, which I found really cool, especially the fact that they let women there, which at the time was a very uncommon practice and was something that I would not be surprised if it was found taboo back then. Um, from there, another fact I found super interesting was the fact that he believed there was a difference between reality and illusion. So he specifically thought that senses, so like sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, etc., only gave information about the imperfect phenomena around you, not what is actually real. So the things that you touched, the things that you saw, the things you heard may not have actually been real life, but rather the phenomena that you experienced and perceived to be real life, and how belief and ethics and morals were the only absolute or the only true reality of our world, which is an interesting idea, and I think it's interesting to talk about and learn more about. I think I want to do more research on why he thought that and more of the specifics on it because it does seem like a really interesting fact to me. Um, with that idea of believing that only thought and rationality was reality, he also similarly thought that you could only gain knowledge from rational thought. So didn't believe that you could gain basic knowledge from stuff like what you saw or what you heard, etc., which unless I'm misinterpreting it, doesn't seem true because you have to see things and you have to be able to hear things in order to process them and gain that. No, I don't know. Anyway, that was something I found that I was like, not super certain how accurate that is, but thought it was interesting. And then finally, the other thought I found super cool was the fact that he discussed ideas that then became precursors and became important to modern day psychology. So stuff like talking about self-realization, learning more about yourself and how your own brain works, especially stuff like the id, the super id, and the ego, and those being separate factions of your brain and how they work. The different functions that they have then being different areas and how they incorporate into your logical thinking, your rational thinking, etc., stuff like that. So, yeah, it was super interesting studying more about Plato. I had a very fun time, and I am excited to learn more from the class and especially learn more from the other students. So, thank you for coming, and I hope you have a great day.